The Himalayan itself comes as a wholesome package ready for touring or to tread any off-road trail rides. But there are a few modification and accessories you can put on the Himalayan to improve the whole riding experience altogether. I've experimented with a lot of modifications and accessories, and I've come up with a list of very useful and not so useful accessories and modification that you can have on the Himalayan. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video I'll be sharing with you all the modifications and accessories that I have used on the Himalayan, and I've categorized into very useful and not so useful accessories or mods. So let's get into it. So the first accessory I want to talk to you about under the very useful category are the auxiliary lamps or the LED lamps. Himalayan's halogen headlight throw is good enough but not great, especially the open highways and fogging conditions. It doesn't perform very well, adequately well. So having a LED light can help you a lot with the visibility, especially on the open highway when you're riding it around 100-110 km/h in the night or in extremely foggy conditions. I put the HJG 9 LED lamps on either sides attached to the fog light clamp from A4 Motor Designs, all of which I have given the link in the description below, so you can go and check it out. So it sits in there nice and sleek, and it improves the visibility at night very well, and it is a blessing actually. The next very useful accessory that I have are the knuckle guards. Now the RE stock knuckle guard itself does a very decent job. It is very sturdy and very strong. Once I didn't have the knuckle guard on and my front brake lever broke off. So if it happens, if the same happens to the clutch lever, then you'll be stuck and stranded in the middle of nowhere. So there are plenty of aftermarket handguards options available, but don't expect anything magical out of them because the stock itself does a very decent job. So if you are someone who wants to go off-road trail riding, it offers both knuckle protection in case you are riding through grassland or something and there is a lot of trees or grass or shrubs that is rubbing against you. It provides wind resistance as well, and all in all it protects your levers in case of any major fault. So have a handguard on. Okay. The next very useful accessory that I have are the saddle stays. Now I prefer saddlebag over pannier rack because you can stuff in more luggage if you want, and it is not very bag itself is not very heavy as a pannier, and saddlebag over tailbag because it leaves the pillion seat free in case if you want to go with the pillion, or if you want to leave the seat free in case if you want to take someone on the way or something like that. So I prefer to use a saddlebag, and in case I've made a video on my luggage mounting system, which I will leave the link in the I button of the description below. So the saddle stays are absolutely great, and here I have a generic saddle stay with the protector as well, which I have tied it with zip tie so that it will not flap around when I'm falling in any gutter or something like that. So any saddle stay would do, but it is very useful and very purposeful. The next best useful accessory on the Himalayan, which I don't have it with me right now, is a touring handlebar from Art of Motorcycles. They're extremely good, very good. It provides a lot of comfort than the stock handlebar. It's a little bit taller, and I usually tilt the handlebar towards my side. So the AOM handlebar I had tilted towards my side, and that handlebar is very sturdy and very strong. Suffered multiple falls. Like after an extreme fall only, it broke off at one side. Otherwise, it is just perfect handlebar, and now if the stock handlebar bends, I will again go for the AOM handlebar. So get yourself a aftermarket touring handlebar either from AOM or from Motoyoi. I'll leave the link in the description below. Especially if you are a person taller than 5'8", then you will definitely find the taller handlebar helpful, especially when saddling and on the long distance highway touring also. Due to the long travel suspension that the Himalayan has, especially on the rear side, the distance between the mudguard and the rear tire is very long. So often my pillion gets an artwork of slush at the back in rainy conditions. So I put a universal tire hugger for the rear tire, which is absolutely brilliant, and it prevents all the slush and muck from getting on the back of the pillion and the back of the bike as well. So you get yourself a universal tire hugger and check whether it is not hindering any of the sides or the top. So get yourself a tire hugger which fits perfectly, and you'll get plenty of aftermarket options for the universal tire hugger. One extra thing is, personally, I like the look of the tire hugger on the Himalayan. I think it looks classy. The next very useful mod, I don't have it right now, I mean accessory that I don't have it right now, is the KTM Duke's rear view mirrors. The Enfield mirrors are absolutely the worst. I mean, like, they have a lot of vibrations over 100 km/h. You cannot see anything what's coming behind you. It vibrates a lot, and the field of view also is very less. So I had the KTM rear view mirrors installed, but one of them broke in one of the faults. So that's why I replaced with the stock one itself for now. But if you can get your hand on KTM rear view mirrors, it's the best. The field of vision is absolutely great, and it is very much customizable. I mean, you can rotate it anywhere you want, and it is very sturdy and doesn't vibrate as much as the stock RE rear view mirrors. The next best accessory that I have, or the mod that I have on the Himalayan, is the HDT Customs crash guard. The stock crash guard that comes with the Himalayan, I mean, it itself is an accessory, but the stock crash guard is one of the softest piece of metal on the Himalayan. It bends very fast, and after like 1 or 2 falls, even with your hand, it bends off. Some say a soft crash guard is better than a rigid one, because it will take up the impact rather than giving the impact towards your chassis. But I suffered a major fall, and which 2-3 falls, which led to the bending of T-stem, handlebar, the fork and everything, so that I had to get it repaired for almost 13,000 rupees, just because my crash guard was very soft. So I would prefer a rigid crash guard which has at least a 3-point mounting system. I came across this HDT Customs crash guard, which is excellent, very durable, very sturdy. It has a 3-point mounting system with dual sliders, and after I installed this, I suffered again 2-3 falls in Chikmagalur off-road trail riding, and my handlebar was completely safe at that time. I mean, it didn't get bent at all. Usually it'll get bent even at the slightest of faults, but after I installed this crash guard, the handlebar has not taken a major hit at all. The only drawback to this crash guard is that the slider that comes down will reduce your leaning angle a little bit. I mean, while cornering, it can touch the road, so it will reduce the leaning angle, but that's something that I am willing to trade off for a much sturdier, stronger crash guard, which will help you prevent any damages to the handlebar or to the fork or the T-stem or even the body as well. So this is absolutely the perfect crash guard that I have found. Coming to the useful category of accessories and mods on the bike, the next best thing is the phone holder with the USB charger. This is a very good accessory for pre-2021 Himalayan owners, or Himalayan owners who doesn't like the tripper navigation. The phone holder is very sturdy. It's a generic one, but it serves the purpose very well, and the charger also, USB charger is also very handy, because during the Ladakh trips, when I was camping for 2 days, I didn't have any electricity to charge my phones and cameras, and also during the day when I am on the road, I will connect a power bank to it and charge it up, so that at night I can connect that power bank to the phones and accessories so that I can charge it up. Next best useful thing to have on the Himalayan is a windshield extender. Wind buffeting is a major issue if you are someone taller than 5'8", or I am 5'5", but at times when I want to sit erect and straighten my spine and drive, the wind buffeting is a major issue. So the wind screen that comes as stock is not tall enough, so it is better to have a windshield extender if you are touring. I have removed it now and kept it because the major disadvantage of having a windshield extender is that it cuts off all the wind coming straight at you. So at hot weather conditions, you will sweat a lot. Meaning when you ride through hot conditions, the wind is the one major factor that keeps you cool at times. So when you cut that factor completely off, even if you're riding 100 km/h, you are not getting any wind, so you will sweat a lot and you will feel it is very, very hot. So for that reason, I have removed it and kept. Otherwise, for highway tourings and all, I will keep the windshield extender so that it will prevent all the buffeting issues. It increases wind resistance a bit, so the top speed reduces a little bit, and the mileage also goes down is what some people tell, but I've never faced any issue with the mileage while having the windscreen extender. But yes, it increases the wind resistance so that the bike struggles a bit at the top end, but the comfort it gives if you have it on is far better than having cribbing about losing the top end, because when you're riding at high speeds, you don't have to give any extra muscle power to hold yourself onto the bike. You can just relax, and when you stop, you'll not feel any discomfort or any tiring or any kind of issues if you have a windscreen, wind extender on. So have that. You'll get two options. I think one clip-on you will get, or a screw-on you will get, or one which you need to drill a screw and keep it. I have the one that can be screwed onto the windshield extender. It comes in very sturdy. Few times when I have gone in bumps, it had come off, but otherwise it just works perfect. Okay. The next mod that I have is a small one. It's a gear lever cover, a rubber cover that I have installed on the gear lever. It will prevent unnecessary mark from forming on your shoes when you're shifting gears. The stock gear lever part will leave a mark on your shoe. So if you have a rubber cover on, it will prevent any kind of mark on the shoes. The next mod that I have is a jerry can holder. Jerry can is a necessity when for any motorcycle above 350-400 cc, which gives a mileage of less than 30 km/h, especially when you're traveling to terrains like Ladakh. So I have installed one holder and kept, and I took the jerry can when I was going to Ladakh. You don't need to necessarily carry petrol. If you are going somewhere off-road camping and all this stuff, you can carry water as well. So a jerry can holder is a much needed accessory, I would say. Next accessory would be a helmet lock. Any cycle helmet lock also will do. You'll get it from Decathlon. You can lock a helmet and keep. So that's one good accessory I have. Okay. The next accessory that I have is a 12-volt socket installed right under the seat above the battery. If you are going on long trips to off-grid camps, you need to carry a tire inflator. I had a Rescue Tech tire inflator with me. It broke down in Ladakh. It stopped working. So I still have that plug installed on top of the battery under the seat. So in case you need to inflate your tire, it is very easy. You just have to remove the seat, connect it, and just inflate both the tires. So have a 12-volt socket installed under the seat. It acts as a power supply for the tire inflator. Or if you have a 12-volt to USB adapter, you can charge any USB appliances as well. So the next best useful accessory that I have, and now in fact it comes from the company itself, are the rear master cylinder guard, the oil guard, and the radiator guard. Have it installed because once I fell somewhere in off-road terrain, and the master cylinder guard got hit and it got bent. So I can imagine if the master cylinder guard was not there, the master cylinder would have taken a hit and I would have lost the rear brake. So have the guards installed. Now it comes from the company itself. The next best accessory that I have installed are the Pro Spec Highway foot pegs. Now the Himalayan seating position, the foot position is a little bit behind for my comfort, because I upgraded my bike from a 1975 model Royal Enfield Bullet, which had a little more forward foot peg position and a more relaxed position. So when I came to the Himalayan, I found it a little bit uncomfortable for me having the foot placed a little bit behind. When I'm wearing the riding pants, the the knee protector kind of presses against your knee, and it hurts a lot after 2-3 hours of continuous riding. So I've installed the Highway foot pegs. It is very sturdy. It comes in very handy. You can aram-se stretch your leg, place on the foot peg and just relax and take a break. It is very, very good. It has come in very helpful for me during the Ladakh trips and all that. And the best part about it is you don't have to drill any holes in your crash guard to install the foot peg. Drilling any hole in the crash guard will make it lose the integrity of the crash guard. So it's better to have a foot peg that you can attach on top of the crash guard than having to drill a hole in it. So this foot peg is very sturdy, it's very durable, and it has suffered 2-3 times fall, and it has dislodged from its position, but it has never got bent or anything. So have it if you are going on long trips. It will help you a lot. The next useful item I have are the rubber tank grips. Now actually when I saddle, I don't hug the tank. My knee comes around the seat, but this one protects your fuel tank from any scratches that your rider pants will put on the fuel tank. Because before installing it, this tank suffered a little bit of scratches from the zip that was on my rider pants. So I put on the grip. It will give you extra grip also while riding off-road in case you want to hug that tank, or it will prevent scratches on the tank itself while riding with the riding pant on. So coming to the not so useful accessories that I've experimented with, the first thing is Pro Spec's EZ Cruz throttle lock. When I first heard about it and saw some videos about it, I was very thrilled to try it out. So I bought one for myself and I installed it, but it comes with its own issues. It's not practical as it sounds. The problem is that you need to be very alert and very cautious when you're using it. Because suddenly when you want to disengage or engage the throttle, you will kind of feel a little bit of confused. So that in turn takes away the whole purpose of you wanting to relax while having the cruise control on. It doesn't function like a cruise control. So in order to get that correct setting where the throttle locks perfectly, it takes a little bit of time and practice, and you need to have an open highway with no roads to experiment it first. So if you are want to get to a place very fast and you cannot afford to take frequent breaks, you can have it on so that you can leave it for some time on while you stretch your hands and take a little bit of break. But other than that, it is a little bit risky. It is not very practical, but if you want to try it out, definitely try it out. Next not so useful mod that I have tried is the Pro Spec's EZ Clutch system. I've heard a lot about it from different people that it works perfect. Actually, when I installed it, the clutch became very light, as similar to you find in a 200cc bike like a Honda bike or something like that. It became very light, but the gear shifts became very hard for me, and the clutch was not properly engaging, or should I say disengaging, I don't know. The engine was revving up too much. It was not, it was losing power and all that. So I even contacted the owner to find a workaround, but it never worked for me. So it is just sitting like chumma in my cupboard. But for many people out there, it has worked wonders. The clutch feel has come down more than 50%, and the gear shifts have become smoother, but it never worked for me. So if anybody know any workaround for this, please leave a comment in the description below. I will be happy to reach out to you. The next not so useful but yet useful mod that I have is the top box. Personally, I don't like a top box because it kind of gives a pizza delivery bike kind of look. So I don't like the look of a top box, but it's actually useful. I store rain gear and gloves and stuff for the city commute, but it again hinders when I want to go on a long distance drive, because I cannot store anything on the top rack. So on long distance touring on the highways, I find myself removing the top box so that I can mount much bigger and larger or heavier luggage on top of the top rack. And all. And second thing is it reduces the seating capacity of the rear seat to a little bit. So, it comes a little bit forward. You have a backrest, but for a hefty person it is very difficult to sit over there. So top box is useful in the city commute, daily commute, for storing rain gears and stuff, but for the long haul and the long distance, I prefer not having the top box so that I can store much larger or heavier luggages on the top rack and having little more space on the back seat. So these are all the accessories and mods that I have on the Himalayan to make it a even better off-roader or a touring friendly bike. So I hope you guys found this video useful. I will leave all the product link in the description below. Do check it out, and if you have any queries, any doubts, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. So see you next Saturday with another one. Bye.